Previously on the Embracing the Journey podcast.
We turn around and we see only one tower standing. We're like, there's no way all those people got out.
Right.
There's no way.
What was life after 9/11?
Even though we know it as September 11th, we were in a state of war. It wasn't just one day of war.
With these mass amount of donations coming in from different parts of the world, did that help you guys?
Not me. They said, we need a letter from a therapist saying you have PTSD for Salvation Army to help you.
Freeze real quick. Did they know that you were in the building?
Yes.
And they needed you to have proof that this traumatic event that recently had taken place caused PTSD for you to get aid.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everybody, to Embracing the Journey podcast. What is it about you that looks death in the face and continues to excel in life? I need to know. I need to know what that looks like for you. Because living through something like 9/11, your threshold for fear and pain and certain emotions, it has to look different for you than the average person. It has to.
That's a powerful question. I think it's a question I had to live out. It's not one you just answer because it is a journey. One thing I didn't tell you before I had gotten home on the 11th was when the cab dropped me off. I was in Inwood, and there was a church called the Good Shepherd. And so I go in and I can't believe I'm alive. And I'm just standing there, and I'm not Catholic, but I was like, I'm going to thank God. I'm thinking the Almighty, however you want, the universe, the divine, the great mystery. I'm thanking the great mystery because I am alive, and I'm standing there, and the structure is like there's stone and there's wood, and I'm like, thank you so much. I was like, oh my goodness, I can breathe, and I'm here, and I'm crying, and out of nowhere, I feel my blood flow in my wrist. Kind of like when you put your hand in a river and you can feel the flow. I could feel the flow. And I was like, oh my God, this is happening. This is happening all the time. It was like the layers of creation were pulled back and made me realize, like, that's how alive we really are. I felt that. And then, months later, I had gone back to Seattle and, with my dad, really like, come home. And I did a 10-day Vipassana meditation. And there I felt my energy. I remember it was my stomach. Now, biology in high school says, okay, cells are made of atoms, they're made of energy. Yeah, intellectually we know that. But when you experience your energy, that's different. And then a couple of weeks later, my dear friend Carolyn invited me to a sweat lodge. And there, I had already understood more of like my PTS, like why I was triggered, everything else. But I still had trauma in my body. And that experience allowed me, the drumming, being in Mother Earth's womb. And I was like, wow, Mother Earth, she's alive. And she literally took all the trauma from my body. So I share this because those 3 moments, it was the 11th, which was very traumatic. And then I had these other very 2 peaceful spiritual experiences. But all 3 moments taught me the same thing. We're energy. And my perception of God, thinking God was out there, was actually what I realized with God is in me. God is in you. The divine is in everything. We're all connected. There is no separation. There is no division. That's the lie. it's knowing that I'm a spiritual being, an energetic being with a consciousness connected to this consciousness, because it's not mine. We're just connected to it while we're here in this realm. That is what has allowed me to continue.
Wow. That's so powerful. I want to ask this. Knowing where you are right now in life, and really think about this. Knowing where you are in life and the obstacles that you had to go through, 9/11 being one of them, to get to where you are, would you do it again? Would you live this entire life over to be where you are right now again?
I wish the tragedy never happened. And even all the people that have died in these wars the last 20 years around the world, they're still suffering hardcore. I wish that wasn't happening at all. I would say yes, I would do it again, because I know I would not understand this web of life. I would not understand what it truly means to be available to my potential, to consciousness, to other people. I don't think I would know how to truly love people had it not been for this. I think I would have been too much in my ego. And having your share of humble pie allows you to sometimes, not sometimes, but for me, it's allowed me to embody a part of myself that I never knew was there. And it didn't come from my comfort zone. It did come from pain and trauma and chaos. Now, some of it, there were peaceful moments and I was able to connect with that. But it's interesting that it's very dualistic. It was either peace or chaos. They both taught me the same thing, yet most people are in the middle, and so they don't get the lesson all the way because it's comfort.
Yeah.
And we self-medicate to stay in comfort, or we keep the vices, or we keep the lifestyle. And I think that's why a lot of people have issues with change and with surrendering and not being in control. But you're not. We're not in control. I mean, I thought I had my destiny in my hands. I'm on Wall Street, I'm modeling, I'm B-girling, and I was like, yes, I'm doing everything in my life right now. And nope, life just did something completely else, something else. And at that moment, I lost all my passion. Like, well, modeling didn't seem worthy of my life. B-girling, that didn't seem worthy. Working on Wall Street, most certainly not doing that. And so change like that, it almost takes everything away from you. And you only have those unseen things. You only have your integrity. You only have a smile to offer someone. You don't have any money, And so when you grow in a way where it's like, it's only character, it's only your word, it builds you up differently than when it's physical and it's money and it's title. It shapes you differently.
Yeah. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
Soft, chewy, sour. The gummy experience that you've been searching for. New from Sour Punch.
Annabelle, do you wish that you could have done anything different in that staircase?
Yes.
What changes would you have made?
I would have told them, come on, come with me, just follow me. Even outside of the building. I wish I would have told people, don't go to the tower. You got to leave. You got to leave the city. I was very clear. I wanted to leave the city, but I didn't tell people. I didn't yell at them. I didn't say, get out of here. Stop trying to call people. Let's go. We got to go the other way. I didn't say anything like that.
Earlier, you spoke on waking up that morning, and something out of the ordinary happened with all those crows being in that tree, making all that noise. Did you know that day was going to be different?
No, I did a wellness wheel workshop with my friend Carolyn, who's Native American, and I remember the crow being my animal spirit. And so when I looked at the tree, I was like, that's my animal spirit. That means something, but I couldn't remember what it meant. And then I was like, I had to go to work. But years later, crows are messengers, and they travel between realms, and they are the sacred keepers of knowledge. And they're shapeshifters. And so that gives me a lot of context now.
I know we've gotten super personal, but I do want to ask this before we wrap up. Have you seen anyone in that building since what happened?
No.
Any contact? Not even the boss?
No.
How does that make you feel?
I wish I could see or know people. Yeah, I wish. That'd be nice. It'd be nice to kind of have closure. Even Anthony, the man who shared the cab with me, and the cab driver who got me up there safely, and I only gave him the money that Anthony gave me and gave it to him, but it sure wasn't the full cab fare. Even that African man, I'd love to thank him for getting me safely home. Yeah, but no.
So I guess the next question is why did you hold this story in of you surviving 9/11 for so long?
I think because every 11th, a couple of reasons. I didn't like to talk about my story because I remember, well, first of all, every 11th, everyone remembers where they are if they're old enough, right? And so the 11th would be a time when I would hear other people's story, and I realized how they were on the other part of the country, but they were so impacted.
Yep.
And so that was always like, oh my goodness. And I didn't want my story to take their time away of sharing what they needed to share, because I could tell they were traumatically impacted by it, even though they weren't physically there at all. And then the other thing, the reason why was there's this, I didn't want my story to just be exciting and a glorification of war and condoning hate and all these things that the 11th has kind of kept us in anger, right? Like it's kind of just, it's transmuted, but it's there. And I wanted my story to be something that was reverential. I did not want it to be just for show. And I wanted my story to also honor all people, the people that died in those towers, the people that have died in the wars since then. And I wanted my story to also bring people together instead of divide us. And I can't say that throughout the years, I was ready to share a story that was able to do that. I was still healing.
Yeah.
I was still angry or upset or fearful, or I just had too much survivor's guilt. And honestly, I couldn't. It just was too painful. I couldn't utter a word of my story either. Wasn't until I was running for office in 2018 for a state Senate seat in Washington State. And I remember it just kind of came out. I was like, oh, this is my experience. I worked on Wall Street, and then I'm a September 11th survivor. And I was on that stage and I just went blank. And then I had a flashback and I was like, I don't even know how I finished that. But my point is I realized 2018 and I still can't tell my story. I'm still not healed completely. And that's when I realized, like, I gotta heal this. I gotta find a way. And that's really why I do the work I do, why I storytell as a healing practice, because I realize so many people are like me. We have these stories. Yeah, it's September 11th for me. It might be a divorce. It might be abuse, neglect, anything. And it's in this cave that we don't touch that is there, and it's blocking us. We don't think it is. We think it's safe. We think we're beyond it because time has gone by. But time alone doesn't heal. It's knowing your lesson. It's talking of the nuance of emotions that come up when you share that story. And so, yeah, I hope more people share their story as well.
If this podcast stumbles across someone that was in that building with you, and you had this time today to say something to them, what would that be?
It's okay to live your life, to live it. Don't let, the tears and the people that didn't make it, don't let that be the reason why you don't live. There's so much joy, and they wouldn't even want you to be miserable. They would want you to make the most of this life. So share your story and serve if you can't. Try to find a way to. Sometimes in serving and volunteering, it helps you be in the moment and you're not so much in your head anymore. And then it allows you to kind of grow out of it. But, you were given this gift, and no one knows how long we're going to have this gift. We have this moment now, and that's all we have.
Yeah. And
so please make the most of it.
I love it. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for another episode of Embracing the Journey podcast. We'll see you guys soon.